Hi, my name is Kane, and today you're going to watch me make reference images for a few of my Cookie Run OCs. Really, the character art for these was done a good while ago, but I did the props over the last couple of months. The first two designs were done by me, while the last design was purchased secondhand online and appears to have been originally designed by Cupid with a K0S, although they've removed the credit for it on Toyhouse now, so I'm not sure what their current account might be. I then just redrew the design into the Cookie Run style because I'm more than just a little bit picky. Given that my most major video series I've been planning has a lot to do with in-game romances, I've been mentally reviewing a lot of the cozy games I've played recently. I actually consider a lot of the otome games I grew up on cozy games due to the lack of pressure and heartwarming atmosphere for them, alongside the ability for me to step away and come back as needed without any pressure. But this is more specifically about farming games. While I've been playing farming games for longer than I've actually been able to read, courtesy of the hand-me-down games I had as a child, I don't really have the time to play them much anymore. I still enjoy playing a few every so often for about a month at a time before I get distracted and switch to doing something else. While it's not a farming sim, at least I wouldn't consider it to be, I'm currently playing through my time at Sandrock for the first time. That being said, I would consider myself very firmly in the target demographic for the Story of Seasons remakes of older Harvest Moon titles. In fact, I dropped a nice 80 hours on the Grand Bazaar remake just recently. I've finished the main story and I'm moving on to the post-game, but I've switched back over to some other games at the moment, so who knows when I'll finish that. To get back on topic, I've wanted remakes of certain farming titles for a good while now, and now that I'm here and desperately trying to come up with a video topic for this week, I'm going to talk about 3 of the potential future remakes I think of when I think about the farming games that are getting remakes right now. To get it out of the way, I currently think that the next Story of Seasons remake that will be announced will be for Island of Happiness, which was originally for the Nintendo DS. This is the second Harvest Moon game I was actually able to get married in, having completed the main story exactly once in my lifetime and making multiple attempts to emulate it later on. I feel that it's been hinted at multiple times in the Grand Bazaar remake, including when the game makes use of Garen from Island of Happiness, but more importantly, I feel that the current trends in the cozy game market would really suit this title. It feels like every game these days wants you to build the village yourself, still trying to chase the insane success of Animal Crossing New Horizons, so an older game in which a lot of the gameplay already revolved around building up an island town would be perfect for adapting into this. If they did remake this game, I would picture them taking some aspects from A New Beginning in the way village renovation worked in that, and removing a few of the more punishing systems like the hunger meter and the villagers moving out if you don't spend enough time with them or meet their shipping requirements. Even though it's not my favorite option, I would still almost certainly squeeze in a playthrough on my sister's copy while she's at work. The second potential Harvest Moon game I would like to highlight was my sister's favorite cozy game from its release in 2009 all the way up to the full release of my time at Sandrock in late 2023. To be clear, this is not an easy title to keep, as she was actively consuming almost every farming game that came out during this time. Much like my number one choice of farming game for a re-release, Harvest Moon Animal Parade suffers from the plague of being a Wii game that makes use of the Wii Remote Nunchuck. This game actually already has a pretty hearty post-game, including the option to have love interests you don't choose marry off to others, something which I'm hoping to see brought back in depth in the new Stardew Valley update. It might not seem like much, but this option really builds on the characters in town as people outside of their relationship with the main character. Plus, their potential kids are super cute. They all go to school together with your kids. It's absolutely lovely. On top of that, this game's town is absolutely stunning, and I would love to be able to see it in full HD, like how they treated Zephyr Town in the Grand Bazaar remake. A remake for Harvest Moon Animal Parade would absolutely have multiple copies floating around my household if it came out. Finally, for the longest time, my number one pick for cozy games that I would love to see a remake for has been Rune Factory Frontier. I love the game, I have a lot of nostalgia for it, and really I should go back and actually play it through now that I'm an adult that's actually capable of understanding what's going on and getting past the second boss, but I just hate the Wii Nunchuck, and I really do not want to sit down and play a game these days as I'm usually pretty busy. Um, Alongside that, every time I talk about the game to my older sister, who has actually gotten to the late game for it, she has reminded me that the Rooney system in that game gets pretty horrific to manage in the late game, as the ecosystems need to be carefully managed in order to prevent extinction, and when they do go extinct, it starts negatively affecting things like your farm. On top of that, the game's difficulty is a lot higher than a lot of cozy games would allow themselves to be now. Not that I think that's necessarily a bad thing. I do feel that a lot of cozy games, especially because I've been playing through the My Time games, do not have consequences for your actions. Despite all the stress of this game, I believe this Rune Factory title is by far the prettiest farming game I have ever played. It's got a beautiful soundtrack, the overworld is lovely, the art style was the first I had ever seen like it when I was growing up. And I very, very regularly pull up screenshots to prove how beautiful this game is to other people. I don't know how much they'd have to change just to get it out again in the current gaming market, and Lord willing, I hope if they did, they would not make the overworld as vast and empty as it felt in Rune Factory 5. It might just be nostalgia, but if Rune Factory Frontier ever got a remake, I'd probably brave the terrible economy just to purchase multiple copies of it. Anyways, that's all I've got. If you're watching this and you reach the end of this video, feel free to comment about other farming games you would willingly eat a Nintendo Switch cartridge unseasoned in order to get a remake of. Thank you very, very much for listening. I hope you liked the art, and I hope you have a great day today.